landscape as these corporate mergers threaten to consolidate all these platforms, and their political bias will determine what documentaries or films get seen or heard. It's a great threat to democracy because independent media is essential to the functioning of a democracy. Folks, we're almost out of time. Go to kpfk.org, make your pledge, make it possible for KPFK to happen. Or call 818-985-5735. You could pledge $25 a month or just $25 once. You could pledge $50 or $100. You're going to come to New York, watch the broadcast live, bring a guest with you, and then we'll go out for brunch. It's called Brunch and a Broadcast at the Chelsea Hotel. That's yours for a $2,000 tax-deductible charitable contribution. I'm on this tour, but I am going back to New York, and I'd love to host KPFK listeners. And again, you don't have to know when you can do it. Just make the pledge for Brunch and a Broadcast. You'll see the broadcast in the morning live 8 to 9. And then I tour you through Democracy Now! You meet the team, and we go around the corner to the Chelsea Hotel, that iconic place where Patti Smith lived, and many others. We urge you to go to kpfk.org and make your pledge. And I'm so excited that I got to be with KPFK listeners in LA. And now I'm thrilled that the film is continuing there. This film about the 30 years of Democracy Now! Again, the Lemley Glendale this weekend at 10 in the morning, Saturday and Sunday, and the Lemley Santa Monica, same thing, 10 in the morning, Saturday and Sunday. What better way? And then you can go out for brunch to celebrate the weekend and independent media. KPFK.org.
Thank you so much, Amy, and we'll hear from you Monday right here on KPFK at 7 a.m. as well as 4 p.m. Thank you so much, Amy.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, everyone.
Support comes from UCLA's Center for the Art of Performance, presenting Vijay Iyer and Wadada Leo Smith on May 16th at the Nimoy. Composer-pianist Iyer and composer-trumpeter Smith unite forces for an evening of duets that defy categorization in pursuit of an evocative, arresting sound. Deeply attuned and grounded in the present, Iyer and Smith perform cuts from their latest album, Defiant Life. Further information and tickets are at cap.ucla.edu and kpfk.org.
You're tuned in to Pacifica Radio, KPFK 90.7 FM Los Angeles, 98.7 FM in Santa Barbara. Streaming around the universe on kpfk.org, where you can check out our past shows, podcasts, and more. KPFK is powered by you, the listener.
Okay, let's get it on. This is Cut to the Chase. My name is Sylvestor Rivers. It's early in the morning. I was a little late, but I'm on time. We're on time. We have a fundraising show for you today because we are in fund drive and we have to make money because that's the way we roll here at KPFK. A lot of stuff going on, as you well know. A lot of information that this station has. Our goal for today is, as usual, $1,000, only $1,000 little bitty dollars. So we hope that you step up and help us out. We'll be playing some clips from past shows. We'll be taking your calls, if that's okay. You heard Gary Bach. If he has time, and just pick up the phone and see what you have to say. But the main number is, it's the same number, but you have two options. You have option 2, which gets you to pledge, and you also have option 1, which would get you on the line to call in and subscribe. This is Mental Health Month, and it's so sad that I ran into somebody yesterday with a mental health issue, just bawling. But it's all cynical. Everything's connected. The world is connected. Our inner self, our inner self, then our people around us, our village, our cities, states, our, what is it after states, countries, the nations. It's a mess. It's a mess. And we're trying to sort it out. We're trying to make things better. That's what this station does. We try to get you information that you don't hear anywhere else. And I don't do it for me. I do it for you and us. We raise this money for us. You know, we're passionate about this. We do things because one of the solutions is education. If you don't have education, you don't have anything. So we're trying to educate ourselves as we educate you. Each one teach one. Elections are coming up. We have an event coming up. The event is a mayoral forum, which should be exciting because you know what? I'm going to tell you, we don't know anything about anybody. They lie, they lie, they lie, they lie, they lie. So I want to thank Gary. Thanks for holding the board down because you see, this is not my best. I mean, you don't have to hold it. I got in a little late. I was up late. All kinds of stuff is happening around us. We're trying to delineate from the truth or lies, and there's so many lies. Politicians, it's legal to lie in politics. Did you know that? You know what? I'm in charge here. I'm running my own board, so I'm thinking somebody's going to cut Charlie on, but it's me who has to cut Charlie on. I love radio and live radio. Charlie, are you with us? Hey.
Yeah, I'm here.
Good. Charlie's been he's been giving me a lot of suggestions. And what he's doing is he's actually live streaming this program. So, Charlie, tell us about that. This program is not just on 90.7 FM and kpfk.org. Listen live. What else you got going?
So, yeah, we've been experimenting for the last couple of months with live streaming this show and a couple of other shows on various of our social media sites. That would be especially Twitter or especially TikTok, but also YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. And so every morning, if you want to see the visuals of what's happening here at the radio station, you can watch this show or listen to this show on any of those social media groups. And what you would look for is our profiles called KPFK Media on any one of those.
KPFK Media on any one of those.
And so we're trying to really connect with the younger generation that has preferences for AV media to get interested in our shows and maybe eventually offer more and more of our shows both on radio and on social media sites, because streaming has really taken off on all sorts of social media sites. A lot of younger generation get most of their news from their favorite social media sites. So this is an experiment to participate. And if you want to take a look at it today, you could go over to it and listen to us there today.
Amazing. And by the way, I didn't give people out the telephone number to call in and pledge or call in. And if you want to say something at the end of the show, toward the end of the show, the number to call is 818-985-5735. 818-985-5735. Hit option 2 to pledge. Option 2. I believe we have somebody in the phone room. They could call and take your pledge. And it's not that much. It's only, well, the minimum paid pledge is $25. And then you can go up. We have premiums. We have T-shirts. Charlie, I like that T-shirt you have on, man.
Yeah, well, you can get this KPFK T-shirt for a $50 pledge. And we have 2 people in the phone room right now waiting for your $50 pledge to get this cool KPFK 90.7 since 1959 shirt. We have many other things you could get also, or just donate to this show and keep this show on keep this show funded and keep KPFK funded and help support the transmitter, which is something I work on from time to time up on Mount Wilson. And it's really important that everybody steps up at this point and supports this show and this station.
So true. 818-985-5735, hit option 2 to pledge. I'm going to try to play, I'm going to play some clips from other shows. There was a forum that happened by the Black Alliance for Peace. It premieres today on YouTube, but we have it this morning, of pieces of it. And what it was, NATO, there's a lot of talk about NATO this, NATO that. And what people don't know is, well, maybe you do know, Trump's trying to get rid of NATO. We have to look at the origins of NATO. NATO started back after World War II. The reason it started back, Charlie, was because they wanted to check Russia. Not because Russia was bad, because it was communist. So the whole language was, if you're communist, you're bad, or if you're socialist, you're bad. And that still goes on today. You hear people, oh, they're communists. Well, what does that mean? People don't know what it means. So they started NATO, but there's more to NATO than that. I think Trump, when he was talking about NATO didn't step up, he was right, because they're part of the imperial dialogue, or the imperial situation that this country is in. So the Black Alliance for Peace held a webinar. It was last week, actually. It was right after this program. Let me find the title here. The title, I think, was Imperialism Today. Let me pull up my notes. And we're going to have a few speakers from it. So let me just start it, and then I'll go back and tell you what it was. How's that sound? Wrong. Here we go. So this webinar had like 7 people on it. I'm only going to play one person. And the host was Margaret Kimberly. And they talked about militarism and colonialism, and how it's working in Africa, because we don't hear a lot about what's going on in Africa. Nobody. That's part of the narrative. If it's not white, it's not important, unless it's a tragedy or something. So let me see if I can play this here. I'm sure I can. Here's the first clip, and I'll introduce the speaker after we play the clip.
And greetings from the All African People's Revolutionary Party. I think it's important. This is an important topic. I think one of the things that we have to deal with is that this is a struggle, and an understanding this struggle in terms of neocolonialism. We have to understand that this is a struggle that begins with imperialism. But even when we go beyond that, we understand that imperialism is an act of war. It's endless war. It's an endless war that cannot end until its existence ends, until imperialism ends. We understand that even Africans have a particular relationship with imperialism, because capitalism doesn't even start, can't even exist without the enslavement of African people, which and the settler colonies that preceded it. When the Africans were enslaved and taken to the Western Hemisphere, free land, free labor is what produced the capital to create capitalism. When capitalism got to the stage where it needed new markets, more resources, and places to invest, it moved to a domination of capital. Capital is what is the parent, or the fight is for today, to control the process of domination of capital, of money.
Hey, that was what's happening. This is, like I said, a webinar, It was called The Architecture of Neocolonialism, Militarism in the 21st Century Africa. The webinar was taking place because of what is called a France-Africa Summit scheduled to convene in Nairobi, Kenya, the 11th and 12th of May. It was sponsored by the governments of France and Kenya. And it was being spun as an effort to improve the mutual innovation and growth between France and the African continent. And since they were kicked out, they being France of West Africa, they are now turning to East Africa. Not surprising that the Kenyan state has made itself an ally of the West. We even saw the black general. Remember that black general? His name was Michael E. Langley, the former commander of the United States AFRICOM, talking about overthrowing Ibrahim.
And greetings from the All-African People's Revolutionary Party.
Okay.
I think it's important. This is an important topic.
Yes, it is. But why did you start over again? We'll get back to him. So what was going on is that they're having a summit, as you know, in the Sahel states. The Sahel states being Mali, Burkina Faso, and what's the other one? Niger. So they kicked out the French and they kicked out the United States. So now all hell broke loose. People on January 3rd, when they kidnapped Maduro, they also tried to overthrow the president. Well, he's not the president. He had a coup. They tried to overthrow them, but it didn't work. So they hate what's going on in the Sahel states because they're holding back, they're winning. And so this seminar was talking about colonialism and its effect, or it's what's going on in there. So we want to play, that was the beginning clip. And we're going to play the next clip here of the conference called the webinar taking place, the African Summit, talking about what's going to take place in the African Summit. They trying to change the narrative. And by the way, what's going on is that Kenya is a part of this summit because Kenya's in the pocket of the West. As you know, they sent troops to Haiti. So when Michael Langley went to Africa, of course, he couldn't go to the Sahel states. He went to Kenya because the United States still has influence there. So this all ties in to what's going on now, to the other wars that we're hearing about. So we're going to talk about the wars there, here, and everywhere. But in the meantime, this information that you have, I want you to help us out today. I'm a little discombobulated, as you might hear, but I'm still on point, I hope. So let's go back to this webinar that took place talking about the architecture of neocolonialism, militarism in the 21st century Africa, and see what they have to say. Here we go. Hold on, let me pop it up, make sure it's on.
To go. When we think about neocolonialism, we think about neocolonialism in the sense that this is when a response to the national liberation struggles that were taken on across Africa and really across the world. And neocolonialism represents when national liberation struggles get to the point that they're actually challenging the imperialist order. And it's important when we think about the PASAI and we think about this French colonial summit. The French colonial summit is taking place, as has been already acknowledged, in Kenya. It's important when we understand the history of Kenya. Kenya is one of the reasons that neocolonialism exists. And when I say it's one of the reasons, it's one of the places where armed struggle, armed resistance, a real struggle for the British in its colonial territories really began. I'm not saying that there was no resistance when colonialism came to Africa. But in the modern context, after World War II, Kenya was one of the key battles, and of course the struggle in Algeria against the French. These two armed struggles is what created the conditions for neocolonialism. The French were beaten so badly that they wanted to get away from having to have that battle, or maybe having to have that struggle in every French colonial so-called possession, territory where they occupied. Of course, the struggle in Kenya against the British had their hands full with the Land and Freedom Army. Most people are more popularized as the Mau Mau. These struggles are what made the imperialist forces, the colonial forces, to go to try to find forces or find a class of people who would collaborate with them, a class that would look just like the oppressed, look like the indigenous people, look like the ones who were in the territories. To create this class, to have this class, neocolonialism had to be invented. The idea that you have someone who looks like you, but doesn't act like you, doesn't act in your interests, but acts in the interests of economic interests, continuing the economic interests that were started under this imperialism, to make sure that the capital is dominant, foreign capital, foreign interest dominates the nation. And so when we think about something like this summit, we think about a deepening of these relationships, a group of folks that are on the run. Because even with neocolonialism, resistance on the continent did not die. In fact, it increased. When we think about this militarism in Africa, we can talk about neocolonialism comes into being about the same time that the end of World War II happens, and there is resistance around the world. Even in this sense, when imperialists come to tell us that they began NATO, we started in the United States, because they wanted to stop the spread of communism. In reality, NATO played a very critical point, a very critical role in not suppressing the Soviet Union, but really it played a critical role in trying to suppress the continuation of the national liberation struggles in Africa. Because armed struggle, even though they had tried to avoid it by putting their puppets in different places, armed struggle still continued in the so-called occupations of the Portuguese, and in Southern Africa, in Zimbabwe, in Tanzania, that they also called South Africa, in Namibia. Armed struggle was still going on, still raging. These struggles were aided by the NATO and its allies, and it's so this is, we understand that while some European and the US was talking about that they were for the liberation of Africa, at the same time they were using NATO forces to invade and to aid the resistance forces. When you think about when you think about the contradiction of the Portuguese were so weak, the Belgians were so weak, they had to be propped up by bigger forces, stronger forces like the NATO alliance. This is the only reason why the struggle in Guinea-Bissau and Angola and Mozambique was able to last so long, because of the aid from the NATO forces. So now we have to understand that this resistance was on a Pan-African level. This resistance on a Pan-African level, starting from the All African Peoples Conference, where the coordination of the the resistance forces was heightened, because that's where the struggles of all the liberation forces were invited in 1958. Forces like Patrice Lumumba, Frantz Fanon, and even comrades from the born in the Western Hemisphere.
Okay, so he's running it down about what's really going on in Africa, which is also going on in Gaza, which is also going on in Venezuela, which is also going on in Los Angeles, which is also going on around the world. But I wanted to play that because we don't hear that anywhere else. We don't hear about what the real deal is, the mineral resources that are being taken, not bought, but taken, which is why the war is going on in the Middle East, in Gaza, because they want the oil. They want the oil for free. Not let me buy it from you, but I want to take it from you. So unfortunately, that's what's happening. And so we have to connect the dots, as Lila Garrett used to say on this station, to see what really we can do. Let me go to the next clip here. Again, we're listening to this webinar that happened because it's tying in, I do believe, contemporary wars and wars around the world. And I know, well, I hope you're getting something out of this. I have some other clips from old shows that I plan to play. I guess I have to pull them up. But let's continue with this seminar, and we'll continue. But we would like you to hear from you, and we would like you to call and pledge so we can keep doing what we're doing, which is giving you information that you don't hear anywhere else. That's KPFK Los Angeles. Here we go.
Act are basically terrorist forces. The Tariq and part of it and other forces, terrorist forces inside of Mali have linked themselves together. And we can just about bet that the money, the added money and weapons are probably coming from the outside, probably coming from maybe even the UAE or the US or the French. I'm sure that if not all of them are involved, at least some of them are involved. There's a constant flood of weapons and money throughout Africa that is used for destabilization forces. Because the reality is that, again, as I said earlier, you don't have to completely overthrow a country. You can just keep it in constant confusion. Like in the Congo, where you have M23, these organizations that are constantly attacking the state. So now you get from them the stealing of so-called conflict minerals. These conflict minerals are able to be sold on the so-called underground markets. So you have the Zionist forces in Israel getting diamonds, conflict diamonds out of the Congo. Here we have, again, Israel was the number one seller of diamonds in the world. They're about number 3 now. But you know that there is not a diamond mine in Israel. They get them from where? And they're involved in, as the UAE. The UAE is one of the biggest partners of the Zionist entity called Israel, the occupation of Palestine. So we have to understand that their imperialists work together in their own interests, and certainly they are going to back military forces, and that's another reason why you don't see militaries coups. I mean, positive coups or progressive liberation forces in governments taking over and standing up for the people, because most of them are part and parcel of the wealth that is being benefiting from the wealth that is stolen, and they're usually being financed and enterprised by forces of imperialism.
Comrade Sabuk.
Oh, wow. That was, I think, okay. Okay, we're finished here. I think I have it short on my computer, so it's not playing. 818-985-5735. We're going to have a mayoral debate coming up May 16th. And we're inviting, well, you have to, I guess, RSVP. Did we get that up yet? Did we get that up yet on the website?
I don't think it's on the website yet.
Okay.
But we do have an Eventbrite.
Okay. So what's happening on May 16th? KPFK is going to go down and have all the candidates who decide to come and have a little forum, a debate, so to speak. And you can go and come in person, RSVP, go to the website when it gets up and come down. And then we'll play it, that's happening the 16th, so it'll be the Friday after that on this program. Because, you know, there's so much going on with these elections. There's so much disinformation, misinformation, et cetera, et cetera. And so we want to give you, go ahead. You got something?
Yeah, so far we have 4 candidates who've RSVP'd. And if you want, there's limited seating. So if you want to hear some of the candidates, both progressive and conservative, go to eventbrite.com, event and BRITE.com, and search for the term KPFK if you want to get a seat. So, yeah, you can get a seat today if you want. We're not saying the location, but once you go to Eventbrite, you will find out the location.
Yeah, that should be pretty exciting. First, I think, for us, and that's what we do. We give you information. So all these candidates, they say this, they say that, but to see them in person, to look in their eyes, you can ask questions, and we'll go from there. And hopefully we can get some clarity on their positions, because they lie. A lot of them lie. Some of them don't. Most of them do. But you know, to see them in person and to ask them substantive questions, I think is very important. And so we're putting that forum on as a oh, you know what, this computer does not, as a what would you call it here?
Yeah, we just so that people get to know the candidates. You know, it's really hard for candidates who aren't the top 2 or 3 to get a forum. The way our system sets up, they look at how much money you have and what your likelihood of winning is, and then they'll invite, as they did a few days ago, just 3 candidates, mayoral candidates, to a forum, and that's it. Well, we invited every mayoral candidate, and so far we have 4, but we think it's important to give a chance for every candidate to be heard by the public. And so we will be live streaming this event on our 4 stations, our TikTok, our YouTube, our Twitter, our Twitch. And then we'll take the footage and live stream it occasionally on a Get Out the Vote public service announcement. We want people to know who the candidates are, what they stand for, and give them a chance to be heard on all of our social media sites. If you know, this is a place where younger people who are on social media will get a chance to hear them. And we've asked each candidate to give us a 2-minute video of their pitch for their campaign, and we hope to be able, as a public service, show what the different candidates are standing for, and daily live stream what these candidates' opportunities, what they think they are. My personal view is that in a better world, we would do what more progressive places have done and have a ranked choice voting system. I think there's 14 or 16 mayor candidates, which means there's a lot of vote splitting. And this would not be a problem at all if we did what places like the state of Oregon do, if we in LA had ranked choice voting. That would mean that every candidate who campaigns and gets a following and gets interest in what they're doing, every candidate would get some votes. And then if they didn't win, their votes would be applied to their second ranked choice. And if that one wasn't in the running, it would then apply to their third ranked choice. And on. You can put up to, if there's 14 candidates, 14 choices, or you could put your first 5 choices and your vote would count, because the catch 22 is that in all of these elections, they tell you, well, you might as well not vote for the person you like the most unless they're first or second or third, because your vote won't count. Well, that they purposely make it that way so that third party candidates don't have a chance. Smaller candidates without a ton of money don't have a chance. So it's hard for any new ideas that aren't sponsored by big dollars to get out there. And so we're supporting the effort to get people out there, get the candidates' voices out there and heard for free on social media. And so we're hoping to have a lively event on May 16th to hear however many candidates we can to get to show up. And if they don't all show up, we're hoping to get their 2-minute pitch for their campaign that we can give out.
That'd be really nice. You know, you can go and just hear a 2-minute pitch by the candidates. That would be beautiful. I don't think nobody else is doing that. No one else is doing anything that we're doing that I know of.
Now, one of the nice things that LA does is if you're a mayoral candidate and you ask for matching funds from the city, I think they match it by, I forget if it's 4 or 6 times. So most of our candidates are signed up, mayoral candidates are signed up for that. But it turns out that we have a couple that are not, 2 that are not. One is self-funded. So, but it is helpful so that the really littlest guy can have a little bit more of a voice, but still the media does not support that. We at KPFK support hearing all the voices of all the candidates and getting you interested in learning about the candidates, and we want to help with that. But our system really only favors whoever they crown as the top candidates.
That's true. So that's what ranked choice voting comes in. And I think one state has it, Mitt Romney's state. No, it's not.
Oregon has it, and it works very well. You don't have to, you save your state, you save your city or your state tons of money because you don't have to have multiple elections. You can have, you can settle an election in one throw. I mean, if you go use ranked choice voting, all of your votes are narrowed down to eventually one candidate, because if your main candidate or secondary isn't going to win, your vote keeps counting towards your next preference. So it's really the most accurate way of getting a candidate favored by the most amount of people, because of the fact that it does keep counting towards the top, what eventually are the top 2 candidates, and then discriminates the top 1 from the other one because of all the ranks. Now, I think more and more cities and states are going to be using this, but this would really apply right now to the governor's race. The governor's the Democratic and Republican Party wanted to keep third parties out of running, and they came up with this law that only the top two candidates go in on the ballot. Now we have something like, I don't know if it's 80 candidates, or we have 80 governor candidates that are splitting the votes in ways that may bring us a governor that only maybe 10% of the people really wanted. And that's because they don't have ranked choice voting, and because their winner takes all thing has backfired on especially the Democratic Party, because they're the ones most vulnerable at this point. If there was ranked choice voting, this would not be a problem.
True that, and we need it so much. What I'm going to try to do now is play, I'm going to play a few of the, we have...
Based on this idea that he's going to be able to put AI data centers in space, totally untested technology, but also that he'll be able to ramp up something called Starlink Mobile, so that he'll be able to provide direct-to-device and direct-to-laptop internet and connectivity for, perhaps the entire planet, at which point he's able to kind of keep the legacy media, as he calls it, keep independent media sources like Democracy Now! Out of the conversation and produce a kind of hermetically closed loop in which people are forced to then ingest the ridiculous things that he says on stage, like the kind that we just saw.
KPFK 90.7 FM, Los Angeles.
Okay, that was a little clip from, he was talking about Elon Musk and what's going on. Elon Musk what's going on is white supremacy around the world. And when I say white supremacy, I mean Elon Musk is saying, okay, the South Africans are being discriminated against, which is not true. So the whole Trump administration is about white nationalism. If we look at it closely. And I'm going to play a clip, I hope, from this, let me see here. Yeah, cut to the chase. Okay, play it live. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. 818-985-5735. Well, I'm totally discombobulated this morning. I woke up late. I can't find all my clips. I had some great clips. Sonali Sanatkar had a program, and she interviewed a gentleman, had a book. And his question was, why is white men make up 29% of the population, but yet they have more like 90% of the power in America? So that was the question he posed to us. And you can go to the archives. The archives are great with KPFK. I'm going to try to pull that up on the archives and let you hear it. In the meantime, 818-985-5735 is the number to call. And the pledge is only $25 for the bottom line. And I promise I have my clips. I overslept. That's what happened. So I'm looking for my clips. I have these different flash drives. I had some great clips, so I'm looking for them, and it's hard to find them. And then my laptop, decided to port on my laptop. Gary, would you see if you can make this work, if you don't mind? 818-985-5735, and my voice is going out. So what I'm going to do is do this here. I want to take a short break for the cause, and then we'll be back with you.
if you are going to deny our ability to order scans.
Okay, we're going to crossfade to some programs we did on healthcare last week because I'm looking for my clips, but this was very interesting. This is what we do here. We do all kinds of stuff. We talked about the healthcare and the problems with healthcare. So we want to what we call crossfade into that.
CEO
of
United Healthcare,
who
was
assassinated. He was shot.
He was shot and killed
because of the craziness that I guess somebody's a guy who shot him because he was advocating for somebody else. Anyway, let's get into it.
Well, and what's interesting is really the American public's reaction to that, right?
Yes.
And so it's, not that the American public were happy that this person was killed, but they understood because this person has been, the CEOs of these health insurance companies with their pen, condemn people to die and unnecessarily suffer by denying them the health care that they should be getting. So I think that is what really, has been so interesting about that situation.
That program was 2 weeks ago. We also have that's Erica speaking right there. And we also have Sheila on with us. You can go back to the archives and hear the whole program. It's really revealing. This is what we do. That was on healthcare. Then we also
the West Bank is divided up.
Now, last week we had some sisters
into
who went
areas
they visited the West Bank.
Area A,
and
the Palestinian Authority has civil or civilian control.
And I thought this was quite
B
revealing
is split
too.
Jurisdiction. Area C is full Israeli military occupation. And in that area,
to have
the
somebody
settlements
to
are
take
expanding rapidly.
their
There's
time
over,
to go to the West Bank where they know their lives are endangered. That's dedication.
I mean, I think it's
that's
even more
dedication.
than that now. But between when I first went to the West Bank in 2012 and now, total number of settlers popped from 500,000 to between 700 and 800,000. That's like 300,000 people who
what's happening is settlers,
and 100,000 of those people have U.S. passports and are U.S. citizens
because they're soliciting people to move to the settlers.
Yes.
So, but isn't this moving into the Palestinian areas? Says that it's illegal or
yeah.
So what you can do is you can go back to the
You talked
archives
about the violence. Let's
and
get
hear
into
the programs.
violence that you saw.
The violence. Of course, you were scared by the IOF, which is the Israeli Occupation Force, which most people know as the Israeli Defense Force. So they're running around, right, terrorizing people like U.S. LAPD and ICE and all those folks. So talk about the violence that you saw, or besides a child who alerted you to something that was going to happen.
Yeah, it was pretty disturbing to witness just like how dehumanized Palestinians are.
So that's what we do on this program.
The Israeli
that's
settlers and the settler militias.
The whole program.
They're really roving gangs of like mercenaries.
Young ladies who went to the West Bank.
It was my first morning on the
that.
ground. My first morning, having stayed overnight with a family, and it had been raining for a week, so it had been very quiet. When suddenly a settler and their ATV rolled up, and they had put some barbed wire on the Palestinians' land. This is our friend Sheikh Saeed. And they started taking
further information.
So that's
somebody has hired somebody to kill you.
This is a gentleman at Black Panther we played a couple of weeks ago.
They don't want you to be able to tell anybody
who hijacked a plane and went to Cuba.
To be able to ever live to get out, And so
because he didn't want to go to the war in Vietnam. So the story
there were people there.
It's very revealing.
Heard about my case. Black people, even white people, that knew it was a railroading. I didn't see the fair trial.
851.
Had a Ku Klux Klan jury.
So he went. So what I'm doing is I'm going in the archives, which is
these people
is a great
they would help me.
resource. If you go to KPFK archives, you go back 3 months and hear different things that happened on this that we've done.
And they do about this stuff. They had somebody with me all the time.
So this.
Whoever this person was that they
is what we do here. We give you. You won't hear this on
whatever
MSNBC or anything else. You hear it on KPFK.
Couldn't get to me.
And my thing is this.
I had all sorts of people around.
My thing is that
and
Netflix is this huge
to send me to
corporation with all these facilities. We could be that. We could be that. We being Pacifica.
I had been in the
if you call in and pledge
from the time
your support.
I got out of the Army.
And, if I'm a volunteer, I'm going to blame the volunteer status on my.
The Black Panther Party. Rizzo was in the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee.
Discombobulation.
And for a while,
we don't get paid for
the
this.
Black Panther Party
it's out of love.
had a brief
it's out of love.
They
so now
the
sister talking, she headed up the paper, the Black Panther paper.
So a lot of the people in SIC
then we had
part of the
Stephen Kessler on, who talked about
the leadership
of the
Student Nonviolent
the CIA
Committee
and its overthrow
drafted
of Iran.
By Huey P. Newton.
We do all this stuff, but we have a different
leadership of the Black
perspective.
Panther
We have a
Party.
perspective that's not heard
SNCC
anywhere
was
else.
a older organization.
We have a
It
perspective
had
that
been, involved in the
I
Black
think
Power
comes from
movement.
research, comes from being on site, like the ladies who were in the West Bank. They were there, so they could tell you.
In communities all over the
We had
South.
some doctors. I
and visitors all over
interviewed
the
some
country. So
doctors
they wanted to
who
unite with them. They
were
had great respect for them at this particular time.
in
the leadership
Gaza, and their story was amazing.
The FBI
You can go to the archives and get that. 818-985-5735.
greatly concerned. So what they did
And please pledge,
is they started their first
because you know what? I think we have
Black
some.
COINTELPRO to break up
Yeah, I think we have some
the alliance between
gifts
the
for you.
Nonviolent Reporting Committee and the Black
Some
Panther Party. Now,
concerts
that's
or
not to
whatnot.
say that
Yeah,
they were
here we
not,
go.
political
You know, Gary
issues
Barker does the
when
Global
this
Village,
came about and all that
and
kind of
they do a
stuff
lot
later,
of great
but
stuff. They
the
give away
real-
a lot of
We're
tickets.
talking about a timeline of 60.
And let me see what we have for you. And Gary, I have to say, good work on some of those interviews,
The
man.
leaders of the Black Panther Party and the leaders.
We
of
have
the
Sam Cooke,
revolutionary
100
organization,
hits. We're going to
essentially.
switch reels now
Also,
as
key
we go out
activists went into the Black
fundraising. We have some
activists
premiums for
and
$120.
you know,
We have
sympathetic-
Sam Cooke,
sympathetic to
a 100
the
hits,
Black Panther
4 CD
Party
set.
than they were to SNCC. SNCC
Support
was
all
truthfully
these programs on KPFK,
uh,
music,
forward at this time.
news,
They were
public
listening,
affairs. Then what's this? Oh, we have a box set of the Black Panthers you can get
they
by
had
calling
politics,
818-985-5735.
they had political criticism,
We have
leadership, and all this kind of stuff, and it wouldn't.
for $100 you can get the Carpenter 100 pledge, pair of tickets to the. Oh, we still have this symphonic jazz orchestra. Excuse me, with guest vocalist Shantae Moore, saluting Earth, Wind, and Fire. That's this weekend. I guess we have some left. That's only $100.
They were scared of that.
So we could do that. So we mix culture and politics and all this stuff together. Yeah, and but we do it with a political edge, and
would be unstoppable.
$50 for a T-shirt. You can get 818-985-5735. 818-985-5735. Hit option 2. I don't know if we have any callers, but that's my fault, because you know I expect me and you to be a partner in this. We have to be partners. I don't do it for me. I don't do it for. I do it for us. Charlie comes in. He's actually in the vanguard of this debate we're having. He suggested to me, man, let's have a debate. And it's going to happen. I'm so excited about that. And that's what we do here. We give you information. We give you stuff, but we need your help because we're not sponsored by corporations who are taking over the world. We're sponsored by you.
An important leader, and
And
he himself was a socialist.
I'm hoping that you understand the situation that we're in, especially with the buyout of all the media right now. We only have a few minutes left.
And I won't claim that I know it all.
I don't believe I don't believe I would throw that without. I had some great clips. I can't find them. I overslept. I cannot find my clips. We had some of Sonali's show. We had some of the doctors in. But I have these. My laptop's acting crazy. But that's radio. That's why we need your help, so we can take these challenges and be better prepared for them. You know, I had to try to make some money yesterday, so I had to, so we need you to step up. 818-985-5735. Any last words? I got Charlie still with me. I got Gary with me. They're looking at me like, looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm not crazy, y'all. Both of y'all mics are hot if you want to say. Give a last pitch.
818-985-5735 and give Brother Sylvester some love here on KPFK. Pledge your support for this program, that we can keep programs like this on the air. We do have a couple of gifts that we have, such as the KPFK mug, KPFK t-shirt, and basic membership is $25. But, you know, Sylvester has been here at the station for quite some time. He's put in a lot of work. And, you got to give it up for this brother, man, because he's putting it out there. And, he stayed up late and
I fell asleep.
Oh, man. But you know what? You put it in, man. You put in the work. So, if you're out there and you want to pledge $50, $100, how about $10,000, $5,000 for KPFK so we could stay on the air? Very important.
But we need everybody to pledge. If just everyone. Those of you, you feel so good. Those who haven't pledged, once they pledge, it's like I'm a listener, subscriber, supporter now. I know people out there.
Nancy from LA has just called. Thank you, Nancy.
Nancy, we thank you so much. And I, do it. People, they say, "Oh, that was a great show. That was a great show." This show was just about. Well, it could have been greater, but I couldn't find my clips. And Gary comes in so smooth, and I say he just came in so smooth. This is Gary Pocket, 818-985-5745. You want to take over, man? But we're going to switch mics.
Oh, yeah, we don't have much time left. 818-985-5735, 818-985-KPFK, or pledge online at kpfk.org. We got the Tom Hartman program coming up. So pledge your support at any amount.
Gary, we're going to have to make up for this. I don't know how much money we made, but we're going to have to double it up next week.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So let's let folks know that we'll be back next Friday at 8 o'clock. Cut to the chase, but it's not too late to get your pledge in to have progressive radio on the air, independent news, talk, music, and culture. 818-985-5735.
Thank y'all.
818-985
cut to
KPFK.